On June 26, an Apache helicopter successfully tested a high-energy laser pod on targets at the White Sands testing range in New Mexico, the first laser weapon ever employed by a helicopter. As much as laser-armed helicopters might seem like they belong in a command and conquer video game, in reality they are joining a wide variety of ground, air and sea-based laser platforms, many of which may be entering service in the coming decades and a few of which are already operational. In fact, a new era of laser warfare may soon be dawning, thanks to lasers' usefulness for countering two important weapons systems, drones and long-range missiles. Films like Star Wars depict laser weapons as emitting short pulses of green and red light. However, the phasers depicted in Star Trek in the 1960s were arguably a bit more accurate. Real laser weapons project a coherent ray of directed photons, light, that strike their target virtually instantaneously. This beam often streams into the target for several seconds or longer as thermal energy builds up to destructive effect, although some pulsing lasers also exist. However, unlike the weapons in Star Trek, the rays from high-energy anti-material lasers for use in the atmosphere are silent and generally invisible, as they usually operate at an optical wavelength indiscernible to the human eye. And today's laser weapons are more likely to burn a hole in a target or cause it to combust, rather than vaporizing it. Most importantly, lasers could be very cheap. Contemporary missile defense systems, such as Israel's Iron Dome or the United States' GMD anti-ballistic missile system, are much more expensive than the missiles they are designed to shoot down, making them untenable were they to face mass attacks. The same problem exists at the tactical level when considering how to counter the future threat of weaponized drone swarm. Basically large flocks of small, expendable drones designed to overwhelm enemy defenses. While anti-aircraft missiles may cost hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions for anti-ballistic missile interceptors, the energy consumed by a laser weapon might cost as little as $1. For systems hooked up to a power generator, the ammunition supply could be virtually unlimited. However, lasers do come with disadvantages that have held back their adoption for decades. To start with, laser energy tends to bloom or diffuse in an atmosphere, limiting maximum range especially when obstructed by sand, smoke or fog. In fact, the relative lack of obstructive particles in space explains why they are considered ideal space-based weapons. Indeed, lasers might be practical for disabling small ground vehicles, attack boats and aircraft. However, the majority of contemporary lasers are designed as defensive weapons to counter drones and enemy missiles and shells. Indeed, the first laser weapon to see operational use in a combat zone, the Zeus Humvee Laser Ordnance Neutralization System, was employed by the U.S. Army to safely detonate roadside bombs and unexploded ordnance in Afghanistan and Iraq. Using the solid-state lasers with a range of up to 300 meters was considered a safer alternative to manually rigging C4 next to the deadly explosives. Another laser that has entered operational use is the unimaginatively named /SEQ-3 laser weapon system, a 33-kilowatt array of 6 solid-state lasers that proved so successful when tested on board USS Ponce that the Navy decided to keep the weapon on the amphibious transport after the trials were complete. Naval vessels may be an ideal platform for lasers, as they can more easily feed them power via their onboard electrical systems. Furthermore, warships desperately need close defense weapons to protect against high-speed anti-ship missiles, such as the BrahMos cruise missile. Naval lasers also have application against swarming drones and high-speed motorboats, and could even be useful for delivering non-lethal warning shots or disabling specific components of a vessel without sinking it. You can see a laser mounted on the Ponce engaging a motorboat and an aerial drone in this video. The Navy hopes to develop 60 to 100 kilowatt lasers with greater range and power for use on its Arleigh Burke-class destroyers and littoral combat ships. A full-power 100-kilowatt free electron laser is slated for testing in 2018, and might see use on the Navy's new Zumwalt-class stealth destroyers. Numerous other laser projects have failed to produce viable systems over the years. One of the most infamous was the billion-dollar airborne laser system, a chemically fueled megawatt-class laser mounted on the nose of a Boeing 747 jumbo jet designated the YAL-1. Smaller tracking lasers helped aim the huge weapon, which could fire 20 to 40 pulses lasting 3 to 5 seconds each. The ABL successfully destroyed 2 tactical ballistic missiles during tests in 2010, which you can see in this video. However, the Air Force ultimately scrapped the program because of the ABL's impractical range limitations. The jumbo jets would have had to enter hostile airspace close to the launch sites to have a chance at downing the missiles in the takeoff phase. However, in 2015 the Air Force announced it was looking into installing longer-range airborne lasers on drones instead, with a prototype slated to begin testing in 2021. In 2009, the U.S. Air Force also test-fired the 100-kilowatt advanced tactical laser for use in destroying ground targets on board its legendary AC-130 Spectre gunship, using it to burn out a truck's engine block. The enormous weapon might also be a useful way to discreetly incinerate strategic material targets, although the potential cloak and dagger aspect has raised some ethical concerns. Although the ATL laser was not approved for operational use, the Air Force Special Operations Command still would like to equip its AC-130S with directed energy weapons. The Air Force is currently focusing on a 150 kilowatt system called the High Energy Liquid Laser Air Defense System, which combines liquid cooling with solid-state laser technology. HELIDs could be employed on a turret mount by a variety of platforms, including fighter jets, Reaper drones, and even aerial refueling tankers. The scalable laser, which could become operational as soon as 2023, is intended to shoot down incoming air-to-air missiles and drones, although it could also have applications against ground targets and manned aircraft. The U.S. Army has long been interested in using lasers to shoot down incoming rocket and mortar shells, a mission known as counter-ram. However, the U.S. Army has since been pursuing a ground-based version of HELIDs. The 10-kilowatt HEL mobile demonstrator mounted on an Army HEMTT truck, the largest type in service, proved effective in trials at shooting down drones and 60mm mortar rounds. A more powerful 60-kilowatt combined fiber laser known as the HEL-MTT was tested in March 2017. This device brings together multiple laser beams via fiber optic cables, making the weapon scalable by adding additional cables. Eventually, the Army hopes to ramp up to a 100-kilowatt laser, which might guarantee timely destruction of heavier projectiles. Separately, in May 2017, the Army tested a 5-kilowatt drone-killing laser mounted on an 8-wheeled Stryker armored personnel carrier in an air defense trial at Fort Sill. The mobile armored laser shot down 21 of 23 drone targets in what was billed as a realistic exercise. A powered-up 10-kilowatt version, with greater range and hitting power, will be tested in November. Numerous earlier attempts at developing laser weapons such as the THEL and ABL lasers failed, not because they couldn't destroy their targets, but because they were too bulky and short range to be practical. However, contemporary programs appear to be addressing the problems of size and mobility, and several are likely to enter service early in the next decade, with similar systems entering service in Russia and China. Although laser weapons may see some offensive applications, it appears their primary function will remain defensive, countering the growing threat posed by long-range missiles and drones, as well as reducing the mayhem caused by old-fashioned mortars and rocket artillery.